Time to fly, time to fly. Never give up, we won't retreat. The ones who stand after.
Hello friends, and welcome again to another Street Fighter Duel video.
Hey guys, welcome again to another Street Fighter Duel video. In this video, we'll be doing the updated tier list for the supports. And the supports are mainly the ones that will help you on lineup, or they are from support faction, or they have support functionality. Which means not every character is included in this tier list. So many characters can fill the role of supports, which I didn't include because they are so low on this tier list and mainly are not used. This is according to the meta, and we studied the meta and we checked it out. This tier list have been done with the help of some friends of mine and some good players actually that have been playing this game from the start of the game, from the launch, and with me specifically doing some adjustment. So let's get into it. Many units are still not in this list, although some of the players are using them due to not having these units that we have right now or not knowing how they function. So this is why the tier list have these specific units, and some of these units are not at all supports, but they fill the role of supports or can be used in assist position to support your teams and lineups and formations according to the meta and what we have right now. I will be excluding some very high pay to win characters or unaccessible characters that you can use, but they are not necessary and there are better options. So now that we all know what we're talking about, let's dive into this tier list. So basically we're gonna start with the main hardcore supports that are the best in the game so far, and they are as follows. Summer Elena, there's no argument about her. She's meta used in the best lineup, the best team that you're gonna go and be doing bossing or in campaign or in PvP. She's the best support in the game so far, hands down, and she's a wind faction, so you can use her in the wind tower as well. So she can be used in any lineup, literally any lineup. She's the best support in the game so far. Now after Summer Elena, we have the next best support in this game, which is Athlete Chun-Li. Now if there was no Summer Elena, Athlete Chun-Li will definitely be the best support in the game for a lot of functionalities that you have in her. First of all, she's a master class, which means you can use her on any lineup with any factions. She will complete another faction or basic faction on your lineup. Secondly, the sustainability that she gives your team and the damage that she does. So the sustainability is unbelievable with her Vortex. Plus, her Vortex stays a lot on the field, which is 15 seconds, which you can stack and have many orbs or many Vortex as much as you want. She buffs your team. This is the fourth thing that she does. And the fifth thing that she does, she can be a sub DPS or a pseudo DPS. She can be the second carry on your lineup, specifically if you build her to 6 out of 6. Without the 6 out of 6, she will not be the carry, as she will not proc her trigger, which is her super. Absolutely amazing unit. Now we have the third one, which was forever the queen of buffing in this lineup. She buffs attack, crit damage, pressure, and she can heal if she drops on the field, which is most likely not because you're gonna use her in attack position. But if you did put her in a main lineup, or if somebody dies and she's on the main lineup, she can trigger that healing function, which is really great. One of the best units in the game so far for supporting. You see her in every single lineup. If somebody didn't build any of these units, or even if they build them, there's a secondary lineup when bossing you want to do, or campaign, or in PvP, or in Final Showdown. You're gonna see her a lot. Really great unit. Plus her assist skill is insane, which is if you're having versus a boss, which is one character, you're facing only a boss, a single unit, she will buff the crit damage of the assisted fighter, which you can slap another unit that buffs crit rate, and so on and so on, which is really insane. Now we're talking about Flame Chun. Now why Flame Chun is not before all of these? She is the meta right now. The fire teams and the fire function is the meta of this game right now. It have been for a long time right now, and she came in hot and she buffs it all. Without her, you can't enable Dalsim or Fire Aidon, maybe Viper, whoever you're playing at Fire, she will enable them to deal more damage, and she's an essential for that lineup, and she's mandatory to have her there. Now, the thing is, she works only with Fire. That's why we put her a little bit lower than the others. Still, she's a god tier unit and still meta, and you will use her. Probably you'll never use her outside the Fire teams, but because she works only for this functionality, if her defense penetration or flame penetration works with everything else and periodically burn them, it will be really awesome. But I think this will be super overpowered for a one unit to have this all. Now we have Rose. Rose have been ultimately one of the best supports in the game. She will cheat death. You will cheat death with her. She will buff you. She deals decent damage, and she will rewind time so you can gain your HP back. She buffs with her tarot cards and destiny cards. She buffs you. She buffs your HP, attack, crit. She's a really overall great unit. Plus, she's a master faction, which means just like Athlete Chun-Li, she can go with anybody else and synergize with your lineup. Now, let's go to the S rank, and at the S category we have always Elena. Elena, she dropped off a little bit from the meta. You're not gonna see her in many bossing lineups, but still there's bossing lineups that I use her actually there. Free to play most of the time use her because she will give them sustainability, and if she's 6 out of 6 she will give them the combo meter. And if you played her, you upgraded her to plus 30 on her exclusive, she will be a buffer for the attack. Really solid unit. She will buff with her passive the max HP and max defense for your main carry with the highest attack. Absolutely insane unit. Summer Yang dropped off a little bit because of everybody using Summer Elena now, but Summer Yang have been always a great unit because he heals, shields, and he armor break, and his armor break gives you combo meter. Really great unit. Probably when you play his echo on him as a fighting soul, his defense will rise up massively and his shields will be so thick that it will allow you to survive many encounters. We see him in PvP, we see him in bossing, we see him everywhere, and his assist is crazy. We can use him as an assist and he will help anybody else. If you get critted, he can give you the shield, and the shield will allow your unit to survive more and more. Now Fei Long, one of the insane units now, also current meta because of his C1 plus his assist. His assist is insane. He's a must if you're playing a fire comp on assist and not using another C1. If you want to use his C1 with a full flame team faction, also without full flame team faction, we see him with Flame Chun. Sometimes she uses her C2, which his C1 will be negated by his Doryuken, but the buffs from the C1 other than the Doryuken buff will be great. And if you play him with a full comp of fire team like Dalsim, then C1 from him, C2 from Fire Adon, then C3 from Dalsim, his Doryuken will stack and stack and you will deal more damage. Really absolutely crazy unit for the flame meta, and he's great assist. His assist 15% from increasing flame damage. It's absolutely crazy. 15% is great. It's not a small number. From 10% and up, it's crazy numbers, and he gives 15%. Now let's talk about Yang. Now Yang is one of the greatest units in the game as a support, especially for his C1. He will give you 25% crit rate, and if you're playing on your main carry Street Poison, she's gonna give this main carry crit damage, which is 25% or 50, I think 25% as well. So you have higher chances to crit, and it almost crit every time if you have broken formation of the carry. And with the crit damage amplification by Street Poison, you'll deal insane numbers. We try them. Sometimes we switch them. His assist is crazy too. He drops in the field when you crit, and he gives you combo meter, and he deals a little bit of damage. Sometimes we play him on assist and we play her on support. Sometimes he's in tag, she's on assist. You can play, they're super flexible, and he proved to be one of the great units. Right now he's meta also in the burst teams with crit rate teams. Chun-Li, OG Chun-Li is one of the great units in the game actually. She's not a support. She's a pseudo support. She's a utility unit. Maybe she's the only full utility unit, or the best utility unit in the game overall, because of her crit functionality. More crit rates. If you build her, max her out to plus 30 and 6 out of 6, she will increase your potential to do high numbers with her C3. She runs perfectly with Akuma. She's the best friend of Akuma because you're gonna burn combo meters so fast with Akuma that with her C3 you will build more combo meter. She deals damage, she gives you the boss of crit rate, and you're gonna deal more damage, and she fills your combo meter. Absolutely used everywhere. She's meta. She's used in a lot of teams and a lot of build-ups. But meta, as when I say she's meta, we're not talking only about the Flame faction. The Flame faction is one team, and the other DPS teams are other teams, which are meta also, because we're fighting 4 bosses now, and we will get to 5 bosses. She's absolutely crazy, one of the most useful units in the game. You see her on every lineup. Press her assist is insane. If you use her on assist position, she's great and she's crazy. She buffs your crit rate. Now Guy, another unit, a little bit underrated. We as the pro players or the old players who like built many units, we prefer using him over other units on the C2 department. If we lack a C2 for buffing, we use him. If we're not like playing somebody like Rose with a C2, we play him because he increases pressure and he gives you crit rate. Of course, from his total crit rate, you get like 15% crit rate, which is really awesome. If you're running a team that you need crit rate, you can slap Chun-Li on an assist position and you can use his C2, you buff your crit rate, or play him at C1 and use his C2 for more pressure and crit rate. And she can be an assist also for crit rate or crit damage from Street Poison. There is a lot of situations. There is these Street Poison, Yang, Chun-Li, and Guy. These 4 are versatile. They can be played on one lineup and you can never go wrong with them. Absolutely crazy units. Now the meta now which shows this is a tank. Hello Abel is a tank. He's not a support, but he can do support functionality. We see him in some Crusade bosses. We use him for his C1. Most of the time we use him for his assist, just for the shields. The shields are super important. The shields you cannot, if you're not gonna get stunned and be interrupted by other means, he will negate the interruptions. If you have the shields, they can't interrupt you while the shields are on. The damage that you take is fully negated if it's a single hit or double hits, because 2 shields most of the time you get. And on assist position, the shield refresh every 12 seconds, which was really great. Very great unit as an assist position and in tag position if you don't want to use him as a tank. If you're using him as a tank, he will generate shields on and on with his 6 out of 6. It works also on tag position. Absolutely crazy unit if you want to use him in a support position, not as a tank. Really great unit. Now Beast Zangief. He fell off a little bit. He's mostly used in towers, in PvP, and in story, but we're still using him in some types of team, especially versus boss rush in Nero and Virgil, because of his AoE that he does and the speed that he gives us. Also a great support unit because he's stun, he gives you speed. On his assist position, he gives you speed. If you use his C1, he gives you bleed, which is a great unit overall to be run at. Yeah, of course, he's not as good as the top. None of these are as good. A little bit you can compare them, but for the basic functionality, the SS category, which I'm talking about, is completely flawless. Now Sagat, we're seeing him. He's a carry, he's a damage dealer. He can nuke, one shot, one tap any unit, but we see him most likely used in bossing right now for a C3 if you're having a super and the C2 unit that deals damage, and you need that C3 that deals a lot of damage with RNG, of course, of proccing his 6 out of 6. He can be that. Plus we can use him on PvP and on stages because of his Emperor and his survivability that he gets. 3 times he survived, which will make him an unbelievable pseudo tank, which fill the role of a main tank. And he can stun with his C3. He can stun, and I think with his super also there's this chance to stun. Absolutely crazy unit. This is why he's highly up there. Now Zangief is one of the units one of the best units in the game, that you're gonna see him everywhere in PvP, PvE, towers, bossing, every single where. Even on assist position sometimes you use him. Why? Because he mitigates damage for flame, thunder, and soul damage. Plus he can interrupt with his super or stun. Plus he can dispel passives, which we're using against every single boss. We're using him literally on every occasion. We're using him on some lineup. Some lineup will always have him using his C2 with 6 out of 6. Plus his C2 deals good damage and sustain. He heals himself. He's a crazy unit, one of the best units in the game. He's a tank, but fill the role of support. He's a tank support character. He's not just a tank, he's a support tank character, full mitigation character. Now I'll be putting these 3 units back to back, and I'll explain immediately why, which is the trio of the best of the god tier units in the game, the best 3 units in the game, and then everybody else follows, which is Gormagalakan, Bison, and Evo Ryu. These 3 buffs your attack. These 3 deals a massive damage, and these 3 have utilities that nobody has. Gormagala can bring the attack position down, plus he can stun, he deals AoE damage, give curse, reduces damage taken, buffs damage that you... Absolutely crazy unit. I'm not gonna talk too much about it. Bison doesn't die, buffs your team, deals insane damage, and can interrupt or stun. Perfect unit, applies weaken as well. Ivorayu, same as them. He's a trigger character, like Ken, deals insane damage, reduces combo meter for your enemy, buffs your team, and mitigate damage and survives a lot, which is crazy, and he silences as well. This is why these 3 units can be supports or pseudo supports. The way right is they're here on the S rank. They're crazy, they're great. In every single scenario, every single occasion we see them, they are meta. They will forever be meta until they nerf them somehow, and this is how they go. Now on the A rank, I'm using Diviner Rose. Now, as I said before, Diviner Rose is the trash supports of the top tier caliber. Why she's not that good? Because you need to build her to plus 30 so she can buffs your crit damage. That's it. And everything else, her dispel is random and RNG if you can dispel with her. Still, she's better dispelling unit than others. This is why we use her here. Plus she heals. This is why she's a good solid support actually in the support faction, but she's not as good as others. Because her damage, if you want to use her for damage, she doesn't apply that much. Now, Gen is one of the crazy carries, hyper carries in the game. Until now, people dropped him off because better units are there, but he can be still used here, and he's still one of the best damage dealers in the game, and his survivability is crazy. Why we use him? Most likely for his shadow clone, and in story mode and in tower and PvP for the damage that he does and the survivability that he does and the interruptions. He can be used as an assist too. His shadow helps a lot. His shadow makes him even better. This is why he's considered a functionality of a support for his shadow clone. Deploying him on the lineup, which is very much better than not deploying him on the lineup, or playing him in an assist position, which is great. Now, Witch Jury is not a support unit. She is a carry. She's a main carry, but she plays the support because of 2 functions. One function, she's infernal. Second function, 3 actually. She's infernal, so she can give you the speed boost and the defense boost if you're using 2 actually, or 3 with pressure or crit damage if you're using 4 infernal. The infernal faction gives her a bonus as for supporting. The second thing is she doesn't die, so she can be a pseudo tank. You can literally not use her, and until any unit dies, you can replace them by using her C1, Super, or C2, or C3 if you went after 15 seconds and you have her at 6 out of 6 or 3 out of 6. This is why. Plus she have lifesteal. Lifesteal is insane for her, keep her surviving, and you can use her on assist, which we most likely everybody uses her on assist. Some bosses we use her on the lineup because we need her damage and she survives a lot, but we use her on assist. She makes your unit ultimately never dies if they deal a lot of damage, which is really crazy. E Honda, also a tank that could be used for doing absolutely nothing and just tanking, like pressing nothing, just tanking, using him, making him 6 out of 6 just to get the wall functionality when he drops to 30% HP. But the good thing is about him that he stalls. This is why, and he stuns. His C1 stuns. This is why we use him in story, campaign, PvP, and tower. Sometimes we use his C1. This is the supporting aspect of him. Other than that, why I didn't put him only on assist, he has the stun. The stun, this is what makes him a good support. Any unit that have a stun, even if he's a carry, it's a functionality for a support. Plus, you can use him as an assist for mitigation, because when you use him on an assist, your entire lineup take 8% less damage, shared among all of them and given back to him, and he will not die on his assist position, so he will mitigate damage for you. Now, for the B ranks, we have Blanca. OG Blanca is one of the great units. Now, why we don't use him that much, or why he not I can put him in A, but literally we have better alternatives for the shock synergy and a lot of units that have shock now, so we don't need to apply shock with him, and it's not that consistent. But he's good because he's a pseudo tank, if you can say off tank. Tanks a little bit. If you build him to plus 30, gives everybody shields, and he counter attack. His counter attack interrupt and stop the enemy, which is really great, and he's great on assist position as well to make other units counter attack. Now, Jailbreak Cody as a B rank, one of the best supports in the game, but he's only used in story mode to interrupt and give you a head start, which is really awesome. Combat Guile, we use him as a support. He's a good carry, not that good late game, but we use him for his dispelling, and that's it. El Fuerte, his assist position is good for healing, conditional, but good, not that bad. Not great support. There's a lot of alternatives for armor break and bleed, and he's not it. We can use him with a Fashion Ken and the Vega team, but he's not required. There's a lot of units that can cover that, and he came in, we used him a little bit, dropped off massively, and nobody see him anywhere. Even at assist position, if you didn't build anybody better than him, we use him just to continue the faction if we were playing Wind. Charming Dudley, he's really good actually with his function, which is if he applies the roses on your enemy, mitigate the healing by 20%, but it doesn't mitigate damage. So if they heal, and it doesn't matter, they can punch you and kill you. If they like rework the roses, if it mitigates healing and mitigates damage, will like remove 10%, 15% of the damage taken, he will be probably higher here on the list. But this is how it goes for him. Really mediocre unit. Now, as for DiCapri, we're using her most of the time as an assist. I wanted to put her an assist, but I put her up here in the C because she's a support for her speed. We use her for her speed mainly, and we use her in situational, very, very situational, to just eliminate or execute a unit if they're below some certain of HP, some certain percentage, which is 40% for her, but she will never kill anybody on higher tiers or higher stages at 40%. She will kill them if they're below 5% or something like that. If you're not and if you're facing an E-Honda, this is why I use her most of the time. E-Honda or Sagat, they are like at 2 or 3% HP, and their passive is coming back again to trigger. I use her just to eliminate them and kill them immediately. Very mediocre unit. You'll see her on assist. On assist, she jumps in and helps a little bit with the damage. Now, top tier assist units, which are Cammy. Cammy, with every trigger she drops on, no interval time, she will apply armor break 100% indefinitely. Mad Ryu, we use him most likely on Bison or any other unit that is a carry that goes low HP, just because when they drop below 50%, they gain 20% of his total attack, which is good, decent actually, which is one of the good units to use, because you don't want to sacrifice using Evil Ryu on Bison. You want to use Evil Ryu on your main lineup, and other units the same. Well, you want to use them on the main lineup, not as an assist for him. Yan, we use him as an assist only, just to give us the combo meter. He's really not meta at all. Unless you're using a team with Yan and Yang, then they will be good, but they need a lot of investment, a lot of support, a lot of sustainability, which is they dropped a lot. At the start of the game, they were the best PvP team, ultimately the best PvP team. If you're facing a team that have them maxed, you almost never win. And Cody, Mayor Cody, is used only for his assist. So far, we use him as an assist, and he buffs 15% versus the highest attack unit or versus anybody. If you're playing versus bosses, we use him a lot on the fire comp. He's meta for the fire comp. His C2 is great for PvP. The Hinder is great actually. He deals good damage. He's sustained a little bit. He's better than other units that are not used, but we most likely will use him as an assist, not more. Makoto proved to be a good assist fighter because 25% chance to proc either defense or attack buff, which is great actually. Jury steals attack from the opponent, give it to the assisted fighter periodically over time. Can't go above some certain percent, but really great actually and useful, and people are using her for assist position for ages right now, and she's still used because she's a better option than other units. Now, Chief Viper came into the game newly. She's on assist position support, fully support on assist position. The amount of attack that she will give you or damage that she will give you straight up damage, not according to anything, straight up damage, 6%, 3 times, stacks 3 times until the end of the battle, which is really great when you use your combo. She's really a great assist unit, and she changed a lot when she came in. She was one of the top tier damage dealer or carries. If you're not using her on assist because you built her, use her 100% on lineups. She deals almost the same amount of damage that Oni does. She's a little bit RNG. I'll be talking about her completely differently. I'll make a tier list for the carries. Vega now, as much as I love him as a carry, he fell off a little bit because the meta changed and we're using better lineups that deal damage more than him, because the things about the game and his utility is whenever the enemy has lower HP, the more damage that he does. And with the bossing, the bosses doesn't have a bar, let's say, and it drops down. So this is why he's not dealing insane numbers. The good thing about him, you can use him with Fashion Can. You can drop him on top of him and he will increase or buff his bleed, because he's a good assist for buffing the bleed functionality. Virgil also, if you're having, like, if you unlocked him to SS and he's not very useful for you as a damage dealer on the stages or anywhere else, you can use him as an assist, because he will cheat death for you for 3 seconds, I think, for one time. So you will negate a death for 1 unit for you, and this is a supporting functionality. He's not a support, but we're talking about assists here, and it supports you. Let me know about your ideas and about what you think about this tier list, and if you have more entries you want to put, if you agree with me and you want to share your opinions, also let me know in the comment. And yeah, that was it for the video.
If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, we thank you for watching. And as always, stay frosty. Peace.
Time to fly.